Hey guys, welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming Studios. I'm Craig, and today we have big changes to 9th edition Warhammer 40k. GW has dropped a Balance Dataslate, as they are calling it, and this looks like it's going to be something great for the hobby, specifically if you are playing competitive Warhammer 40k. Before we dive into this Balance Dataslate, please like and subscribe if you're looking to stay up to date on all of this content Warhammer 40k related. And if you want to support us, help this channel grow, do consider becoming a member. You get things like exclusive videos and access to our private Discord channel. It's a lot of fun over there. With all that out of the way, now let's dive into this video. So what is the Balance Dataslate? It is a new quarterly update to match play. Quarterly is insane. Right now we're used to chapter approved, which is just once a year. Now we're gonna get something 4 times a year on top of chapter approved. So it changes army rules or anything else they deem necessary. Potential point changes. They did say they don't want to always have point changes be a thing in this book, but if there's something urgent they need to address, they will do it here, as they did in this one. Designed to combat obnoxious lists. If you guys have seen, we've got the flyer, AdMech flyer list, which carries, 6+ flyers in a game. And we've got the orc buggy list, which carries an absurd amount of buggies. And part of this is specifically tailored to combat those spammy, not really designed, or what GW had thought when it came to making the rules. Basically a band-aid. Like I said, this is an addition to chapter approved, and biggest enough, it is free. So we don't have, yes, it is something we have to keep track of, but we don't have to go out and buy it every quarter, which huge plus for me, and I'm sure most of you. So let's dive into the rule changes. There's a lot, but not a lot at the same time. So first, like I said, they are changing the cap on the number of flyers. Instead of the standard rule of 3, which they followed, now you can only take a certain number depending on the size of the game. If you're playing combat patrol or incursion, so 500 to 1,000 points, 1 flyer for your whole army, not per detachment thing, 1 flyer. If you're playing strike force, 2,000 point games, 2 flyers. If you were playing onslaught or anything bigger, they say 3 flyers, obviously. If you're playing a big enough game, you could probably bring out more flyers and have fun with that, but this is for tournament play specifically. This really is just to combat one specific list, which I like to see. It does, as a lot of people pointed out, hurt the air cavalry that the Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum use for fun, more fluffy, not necessarily the most competitive. They're hitting the crossfire. Hopefully we'll see a change to that, so I'm sorry Imperial Guard players, but I think this is really important that this gets addressed. The next big change is a limit to the amount of orc buggies an orc player can take. Instead of following the standard rule of 3, where you can take 3 units of them and each one can have 3 in a unit, now it is only 1 unit of each, but each can still have a unit of 3. So now you could have 9 buggies, but you have to have different types, not just the one obnoxious one that was causing a lot of issues in the meta right now. So I think it's a good change. I do kind of wish that it was, instead of a unit of 3 up to 3, it was you could take 3 of them, whether it be 1 unit or 2 unit or 3 unit, but you can only have a max of 3 models, not max of 1 unit up to 3 models. Maybe they'll adjust it in the next one, see how it goes first. They're getting their toes wet with this first one, so we'll see what happens, but I'm excited for that change as well. I never had to play the orc buggy list, and I'm glad I didn't have to. So now for some buffs. There were a few armies that they addressed in this codex who were, struggling. First one, Imperial Guard. Well, actually, psych. First one we're going to talk about is Imperial and Chaos Knights. So now, 2 big changes for them. Titanic Knights now count as 10 models when it comes to holding objective. No longer can a single Gaunt, single Gaunt still can, but no longer can a single non-objective secured model take an objective away from a big knight So that's big. It helps them a lot better out in the primary game or even some of the secondaries like Stranglehold. Big bonus there. The next change is for the Armigers or the War Dogs, the smaller knights. They now count as 5 models, but most importantly, they gain objective secured. So now you need, to take an objective from 1 Armiger Knight, you need 6 Gaunts or 6 Guardsmen or 6 Warriors. You do not need just 1, which big change. It's going to shake up the Knights. I think Knights are going to go from, kind of meh to really powerful now that they can truly play the primary and some of the secondaries a lot more effectively against a more horde type opponent. Now we'll talk about the Imperial Guard. Biggest change is the Leman Russ now has a 2-up save. It's gonna make their durability a lot better. Poor Baneblade did not take advantage of this, so he is just in all ways possible outclassed by the poor Leman Russ. Or, well, the poor Baneblade is outclassed by what seems to be the nice Leman Russ now. Hopefully they get some changes coming up that fix that. We'll see. But Leman Russ spam is more potent than ever because there was no point cost associated with this. Now, tank commanders can give orders to any non-Titanic vehicles. Not just Leman Russes and themselves, but they can give it to non-Titanic vehicles, which, is great. I don't really know why they couldn't give it to other vehicles besides the Leman Russes, but okay, nice change. I'm not the most in-depth guard player, but it seems like a good change. And then the voice of command rule now affects 2 infantry units if those 2 infantry units are within 6 inches of each other. I guess it makes your orders a little more effective. All in all, I think that's a good thing. It makes sense. I don't know, maybe that'll affect, one thing I don't have on here, but it doesn't affect move, which is good because that could get a little nasty. It's only the other ones. So good change for the guard. We have some guard. You just saw them. Fortunately, we didn't have those rules to film in this one, so expect to see them coming up in the future. There are more buffs to armies. 2 more armies got a big buff. Necrons. You guys know we have Necrons on the channel. We haven't filmed them a ton, and we haven't done any deep dives with them because they're just, they weren't great. They weren't singing to Connor, but this change alone, we might start covering Necrons now. At least Connor might. He might split his time up between Grey Knights and Necrons 50-50. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you want us to branch into Necrons or stay Terrans? I have a feeling Connor's going to want to touch on Necrons, so we'll see how that goes. But all of the following units have gained the core keyword. Something that was bizarre with the Necron Codex is that nothing really had core besides Warriors and Immortals. Now everything has core. This is going to open up so many more combos for units to take advantage of. Things like flayed ones are now going to have the potential to be devastating. Wraiths are going to be even better. The destroyers and the Locust Heavy destroyers, the Scorpec destroyers, those, I watch out Necron or anyone else who's going up against Necrons, because these guys are going to get a significant power boost coming up here right now as it is in effect. Finally, a change. It's an interesting change. I see why they did it, but at the same time, it's like, okay. Chaos Space Marines, Death to the False Emperor now affects all enemies, not just Imperium, and instead of having to roll an extra die when you get your 6, generates an extra attack, it is 6 just equals 2 attacks or 2 hits. So less die rolling for you Chaos players, and it's a much more effective rule all around the board than it has been in the past. Though Imperium is pretty common, it's nice to see. There are some nerfs. So like I said, the Orc Buggies, they got nerfed. The AdMech got some point changes as well as their flyer spam getting nerfed. Pretty much in all across the board. I don't want to say true nerf, but most competitive lists, your army, it looks like went up 10% or so in points. So now you're going to have to think in your mind, okay, I'm bringing 1,800 points to a 2,000 point game instead of, your 2,000 point. Think of it that way. But again, some things went down. Like my Dragoons, they went down a couple, 5 or 10 points. So I'm happy that those went down because I do love me some Dragoons. Might see those more often. The basic infantry, the last one we'll touch on, the basic infantry all went up 1 point, which I've been saying for a while now. That is the biggest change that needs to affect the AdMech is increase the infantry by 1 point, and they did it. So we'll see how that shakes out. And the Drukhari, the other aggressor in competitive play, again, across the board point changes, mostly increases in changes, but some of them did go down. I know Talos is one of the only ones I spotted that I knew off the top of my head went down. So you guys will see it. So if you play Dark Eldar, sorry, not sorry, you know, it's a balance for the whole of the game. And that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, Tyranid players, there's nothing for us, which is good and bad because they didn't change anything. They didn't bring anything up, they didn't bring anything down, which I don't know what they would have done. Something to consider is that they did say chapter approved 2021 is coming early next year, so expect some point changes for all the other armies coming then. AdMech and Dark Eldar will not have their points changed in any fashion because it's the same as what's in chapter approved, they told us. So that means chapter approved 2022 is coming soon, so us Tyranid players and every other Xenos who didn't get mentioned here, look forward to new point changes that might shake up your army list then. I will talk about this. I think this is huge. You probably already can tell my enthusiasm from these sorts of changes. Being quarterly now, I'm sure some months or when this is released, there aren't going to be many changes. It might be, 1 page of changes instead of 3 pages or things like that. But whenever something happens and someone finds a way to abuse it to the point where it's really hurting the competitive scene, this is a great fix, because what we want as creating a community in Warhammer 40k, want more people to join. We want less lists that are abusing players, specifically new players, in order to get them to keep coming back to playing Warhammer 40k, to increasing the pool of players, just grow the hobby, all of it. It's great. I'm loving it, and the fact that it's free and often is huge bonus points. So GW, you're getting a little bit of light plus side. It's been a pretty dark couple months for you, I'd say. So you're getting a big plus side here. I don't think anyone will disagree. Like I said, no changes to a lot of key Xenos players, Tau, Eldar, and Tyranids. We know Tau are coming early 2022, January, February. So that's why you don't have any point changes, because your new codex is coming out very soon. So look forward to that. Again, Gene Stealer Cult and the Custodes, they didn't get any changes because their codexes are coming out in a month, give or take a week or so. So that's why. The main one, Eldar and Tyranids, nothing there. They did mention multiple, they said expansions, plural, coming early 2022 for the Xenos. So one of those is Tau. I'm afraid the other one, as a Tyranid player, is going to be Eldar, but Eldar in a worse state than Tyranids. So, pros and cons there. I'd like to see more Eldar players coming. We want to cover Eldar. Sam might be playing some Eldar in the future. If they come out, when they come out, we'll go there. And I'm excited to see how this develops into the competitive scene. If there's a major shake-up in the top list, maybe not. I will hopefully, fingers crossed everything goes okay, be going to a major next week. So a week from today when you're seeing this, I'll be at a 70-player major event. I will be bringing lots of Tyranids. You guys will see my list in a future video. I'll go over everything. I've got a display board. So I'm excited to see how that shakes up. But if I had to pick what armies are going to be more popular or higher up on the tier list, I think AdMech and Dark Eldar are still going to be good, but Grey Knights, I think you're sneaking up to the top now. So that's pretty much it. It is a relatively quick video, not too much to cover. It is again, just a 3-page document with some changes. I'm excited to see this go. And if you want to stay up to date on our content here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios, please like and subscribe. Consider join that Discord. It is a lot of fun. We talked about this for a while when it first came out, to see all the potentials that could be coming with changes like this. So consider that. But that's all we have today. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next time.